Sharpen a knife without a sharpening stone. Do you believe that? Today, I'll share an interesting way to sharpen a dull knife using only common items you already have in your workshop. Start with an old bicycle hub. Remove the nut from one end and set it aside. This hub will become the axle for a rolling sharpening wheel. Grab a flat spade drill bit and choose a nut that matches the hub thread. Use the nut to measure the drilling depth. Wrap a strip of tape around the drill bit to mark the exact thickness of the nut. That tape line acts as a depth stop, so the holes stay consistent and clean. Clamp a piece of wood flat on the bench. Install the spade bit into the drill and drill 2 holes into the wood. Stop as soon as the tape mark reaches the surface. Keep both holes the same depth. A matching depth matters because these holes will hold the center hardware later. Pull the drill out slowly so the wood fibers stay clean. Switch to a hole saw drill bit. Line it up over the first hole and drill straight down. Cut a clean circle and remove the wood disc. Repeat the same cut on the second hole. You now have 2 round wooden wheels with a center recess that fits the nut. These wheels will become the sanding rollers for sharpening. Pick up sandpaper and smooth the outer edges of both wheels. Work around the full circle until the wood feels clean and even. Remove splinters and sharp spots. A smooth wheel rolls better and holds sandpaper tighter. Prepare the center area of the wheels. Cover one side of the center hole with tape. The tape works like a support mold, so cover the entire drilled hole completely. Make sure it seals tight, because any gap will let the glue mixture leak out and ruin the shape. Flip the wheel over and pour baking soda into the hole. Add super glue directly onto the baking soda. The glue hardens fast and creates a strong filler. Keep adding baking soda and glue until the sharp tip area from the spade bit recess fills completely. Peel off the tape and add a few more drops of super glue on the other side to lock everything solid. This step strengthens the wheel center and prevents cracking under pressure. Bring back the bicycle hub. Thread the nut onto the hub end and mark where the nut thickness ends. Cut off the extra length on both ends of the hub so the final hub length matches the nut thickness. Keep the cut straight. A clean cut allows the hub to sit centered and balanced once installed. Grab wood glue and apply it inside the center holes of the wooden wheels. Slide the nut into the recess and tap it in using a hammer. Drive it down until it sits tight and flush. Repeat the same step on the second wheel. These nuts act like solid inserts, giving the wheel a strong metal core. To connect everything, prepare a rectangular steel plate. Mark 6 points in a straight line across the plate. Use a ruler and keep the spacing even. Draw a center line so you can divide the plate into 2 matching halves. Mark 3 points on each side of that center line. Drill the center hole on each side using a larger drill bit. Make the hole large enough for the wheel nut to pass through. Drill the 2 outer holes using a smaller drill bit. These smaller holes will hold screws that lock the steel plate into the wooden wheel. Clamp the steel plate in a vise and cut it in half along the center line. You now have two matching steel brackets. Place one bracket onto the first wooden wheel. Align the large hole with the center of the wheel. The two smaller holes should sit on the wood surface. Drill pilot holes into the wood through the small holes. Then drive screws in to lock the bracket down. Repeat the same step on the second wheel. After that, pour some varnish into a cup and place both wooden wheels on a scrap board. Use a small paintbrush to coat the wheels evenly, covering the edges and the flat faces so the wood seals well. Brush varnish over both wooden wheels. Coat the surface evenly and let it dry. Varnish protects the wood from moisture and helps the sandpaper glue bond better. After the varnish dries, prepare the sanding surfaces. Take 800 grit sandpaper and cut a circle that matches the wheel face. Apply super glue to the wheel surface and press the sandpaper down firmly. Smooth it out so no bubbles remain. Repeat this step on the second wheel using 1500 grit sandpaper. Keep the paper centered. Press down around the edges and hold it until the glue grabs. Once the glue cures, trim off the extra sandpaper using scissors. Cut carefully around the edge so the wheel stays round. A clean edge prevents peeling later. One side offers a rougher cut with 800 grit. The other side offers a finer finish with 1500 grit. Slide the bicycle hub through the center holes of both steel brackets. Tighten the hub so the wheels sit facing outward. With the sandpaper surfaces on the outside, you now have a rolling sharpening tool. To sharpen a knife properly, build an angle base. Take a wooden board about 10 by 20 centimeters. Mark 2 holes in a straight line near one end. Use the same spade bit with the tape depth mark and drill down to the correct depth. Switch to a regular drill bit and drill through those holes so bolts can pass fully. Now you have 2 drilled holes that seat the nuts and let the bolts pass through cleanly. Take 2 long screws and 2 nuts. Add wood glue around the holes and press the nuts into the recess so they sit tight. Use a hammer and tap both nuts into the holes firmly. Strike with controlled hits so the nuts sit deep and tight. They should lock into the wood and stay flush, without spinning or shifting when you tighten the bolts later. Insert the long screws from underneath the board. These screws become adjustable legs. Turning them changes the height of the board and lets you control the sharpening angle. Brush varnish over the board and let it dry. A sealed board lasts longer and resists moisture when you spray water during sharpening. Brush the varnish on slowly so it spreads evenly across the wood surface. Cover the edges as well, because moisture often enters from the sides. Let it sit for a few minutes and allow it to dry. After that, grab a ruler and a marker and get ready for the next layout step. On the opposite end of the board, drill 2 small holes along the thickness edge. Install 2 screws with washers. Place a small plastic zip tie under one washer to act as a spacer. This creates a clamping gap that holds the spine of the knife. The washers become the support points that keep the blade upright and stable. Add rubber caps to the bottom of the adjustable screws. These caps prevent slipping and protect the table surface. After installing the rubber caps, set the board on the table and check stability. It should sit balanced and feel solid with no wobble. Once it feels steady, grab your 3M double-sided tape and prepare the top surface. Apply double-sided 3M tape to the top of the board. Trim off the extra tape cleanly so it matches the shape of the board. Once you press it down firmly, 3M tape holds extremely well on wood. It grips tight, stays flat, and does not peel easily. That strong bond matters because the leather needs to stay locked in place during sharpening. Press a piece of leather onto the tape and smooth it down firmly. This leather becomes the stropping surface used at the end of sharpening. Turn on a phone angle measuring app and place the phone on the board. Adjust the 2 leg screws until the board angle reaches about 18 to 22 degrees. This angle works well for most kitchen knives. Keep both legs balanced so the board stays stable and does not wobble. Bring the knife to the setup. Slide the spine of the knife between the 2 washers. Tighten the screws so the blade stays upright and centered. Point the cutting edge upward. Spray water lightly onto the sandpaper wheel surface. Water keeps the blade cool and reduces clogging. Roll the sharpening tool across the blade edge slowly. Let the wheel glide along the full length of the blade. Use steady pressure, not force. Focus on keeping the wheel flat and moving in a straight path. Make several passes on the 800 grit wheel. Move to the 1500 grit wheel. Roll the tool across the blade the same way. This finer grit smooths the edge and removes rough scratches from the first stage. Keep the movement consistent from heel to tip. A few slow passes bring the edge closer to sharp. Remove the knife from the washers and flip it over. Lock the spine back into the washers so the other side faces up. Spray water again and repeat the sharpening passes. Start with the 800 grit wheel and follow with the 1500 grit wheels. This balances the bevel and keeps the cutting edge centered. Sharpen slowly and keep your pressure light so you do not damage the blade edge. Let the abrasive do the cutting instead of forcing it. After a few steady passes, the knife already feels much sharper and more responsive. After finishing both sides, take the knife to the leather strop on the board. Pull the blade gently across the leather. Keep the angle low and move slowly. Test the result with paper. Hold a sheet and slice downward. The knife cuts smoothly and the paper separates clean without tearing. Bring the knife to the coconut again. Press the edge into the outer skin. The blade bites immediately and cuts through with control. The difference feels obvious from the first stroke. A dull knife can become sharp again when you build a stable angle and use consistent sanding pressure. Subscribe for more practical DIY builds you can use at home. Leave a comment and tell me what tool you want to restore next.